Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
Brundle stole my girl, your mother, got her pregnant, caused her death, dissolved my hand and my foot with fly vomit. I have no love for the man. He bugged me.
This is episode 214, recorded August 24th, 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-host Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. In this podcast, we usually start with a few details about the film, give our first impressions. Oh, and we also do our taglines segment. And then we kind of take off down the road in whatever path we find.
It's a segment now.
Mm-hmm.
It is a segment.
It's a segment.
It's a segment.
Yeah.
All right. So joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm great. Great. It's so dark. I need. Hold on. Let's see.
Are you there?
You look devilish.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. I'll just use the light from my computer.
I love your background. Every time I look at it, I see something new. Is that a skeletal cat down at the bottom next to the drawing of a
It's
mouth?
a dog. It's a little dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But there is all different kinds of things you probably can't see, or very well, at least.
Oh,
It's
sure.
cool.
Stuff behind me. Thank you.
It's very cool.
When
All
people
right.
come
Also
down
joining
here-
us is Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era, and the 1970s, and a comic book writer and artist. Chad, Brundle Chad, I should say. I forgot you're working through your metamorphosis there.
I feel
How
a
you doing?
change coming on.
You look it.
There's
you look
change on the horizon. I'm a new man. Should I keep going? No.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Last but not least, it's Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and co-host of Decades of Horror, the 70s. How are you, Bill?
Better than Brundle Chad. If you look at him carefully, he's got the head of Chad and the body of Chad, but not the same Chad.
Or brain.
Ooh.
I'm getting ready for the opening of school and Dragon Con, and I'm ill prepared for both.
I
They're
can't
both
believe
a-
school hasn't started for y'all yet. It's been
Oh,
going
just-
on
just
since
a-
the 4th here.
Just a couple days, excuse me. And then Dragon Con's literally a week and a day away. So yikes. I'm doing 7 panels.
Yay.
Holy cow.
Yay.
Let's
That's
see
a low number
how
for
this-
you.
For Dragon Con, that's plenty. It's okay, guys. Seriously.
All right. Spoiler alert, once again, this is a film that came out 10, 20, 30, 33 years ago. So,
Yeah, come
you
on.
know,
Catch up.
you should probably go watch it first. Our film tonight is The Fly 2. And I just love that kid's helmet. So I put it
Oh,
up.
yeah.
It was just too cool. 1989, directed by Chris Wallace,
Mhm.
written by Mick Garris, Jim Wheat, Ken Wheat, and Frank Darabont, and from, of course, characters or basic idea from the original George Langelaan story. Cast includes Eric Stoltz, Daphne Zuniga, and I left the other ones out, but we will talk about some other ones here shortly. Filming locations in Burnaby and Vancouver, British Columbia, and in LA. It was filmed April 30th to July 19th, 1988. Rather, almost a 3-month shooting schedule. Release date, February 10th, 1989. Worldwide box office is listed at $38.9 million. And the synopsis: the almost human son of Brundlefly searches for a cure to his mutated genes while being monitored by a nefarious corporation that wishes to continue his father's experiments. Ooh, I hate those nefarious corporations.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they're the
yeah.
worst.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So Chad, if you're Brundle Chad, that means you're half Chad and half Jeff Goldblum.
Sure.
That's cool.
Just
Why not?
very true.
Or
very true. Or
Gina Davis. Maybe.
Or Gina Davis.
I'll be half
Wow.
Gina Davis any day. I don't care.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a lot of these this time, but it's now time for our segment.
Oh, you queuing it up? You got something?
I am. Here we go.
I can't wait. I've been waiting for this for so long. Here we go.
Yeah, Doug, it's time for
my God.
Taglines with Chad.
Was that endless loop?
Are you hearing something?
Oh yeah,
Yes!
over and over and over. Now I'm hearing a fly. Oh
I think
yeah.
I can cut this properly.
Oh, I don't know. That was
Well, that's-
gold.
That was our
That
new
was
intro.
so bad.
It was gold, or it's whatever flies normally fly around.
But when it's bad, sometimes it's good, you know.
Of course.
So,
Well,
yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chad, we have a couple.
What are we
Yeah.
doing again? Are we podcasting?
Yeah. Do it again. Yeah. Play one more time.
Well, let's do this. And now it's time for Taglines with Chad.
Oh God! Right as I swallowed some coffee, you killing me.
How you doing, bud?
Oh.
I'm okay, I think. All right, the taglines are as follows. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid, because we're going to add one more very to the original very to make it more
Two varies.
sequely.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Like father,
The
like
most
son.
various movie we've ever had.
Like father, like son. Oh, they had to really dig deep to find that one.
Yeah.
And
It's
in fact,
clever. It's
I thought I
clever,
read the producer told him that's if the marketing people, whatever you do, don't use that. And boom, there it was.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I like it though. I mean,
I like it
I
too.
don't dislike it. It makes sense. It's
it does. It does.
For the
Well,
movie, I think it's clever. Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
let's try to get back on track. This was Bill's pick, I believe.
It was.
Yeah.
Um,
First impressions.
well, I mean, The Fly was one of those movies I went to see not really expecting a lot, although I love David Cronenberg and I love the original, but it's a very silly movie. And I just wasn't sure what to expect. And I got exactly what I should have expected, a David Cronenberg version of The Fly. And it was brilliant. And shockingly, it was successful. When you think about it, how was that movie a hit? It's so gross and such body horror, but it had great actors and good writing and just everything about it was great. So they made a sequel. And again, I went in not expecting a whole lot because it didn't have Jeff Goldblum, it didn't have Gina Davis, it didn't have David Cronenberg. What it had was a really good monster, and a good story. A good story. It's not a patch on the ass of The Fly, but I wasn't expecting it to be. If this was just obviously a cash in, yes, but more of a family friendly movie, which the first one certainly was not. And it gave us things that we didn't get in the first one, like a happy ending and characters who actually survive. I mean, this is a much more standard movie. It's not trying to reach for the heights that the first one did. And I think on that level, it succeeds. It's got some great gore. I think Wallace did a good job of directing. I don't think he ever directed another movie again. Am I right about that?
Wow.
I don't think
I
so.
believe you're right.
But then when you look into it, Mel Brooks, who was the producer of both films, shockingly, said that this film had probably more studio interference than any other film he worked on, and I just imagine it was probably not fun to have these people coming in and second guessing everything. And the movie did okay, but it obviously didn't make as much or be as critically acclaimed as the first one. And I, I'm just guessing he probably said this was not rewarding compared to doing special effects, and he could have worked on Gremlins 2 and gotten an Academy Award or something. So I like it. I
actually, I'm sorry, Bill. He directed
No, go ahead.
something called The Vagrant in
Oh,
1992.
Yeah. You're right.
That starred Bill Paxton and Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think an episode of Tales
Play the Fly music
Tales from the
again.
Crypt. Yeah, an episode of Tales from the Crypt and a short piece, a documentary on Gremlins.
So yeah, but I enjoy it. I was curious because it's been a while since I've seen it. Was nostalgia working for me? And no, I remember little bits of it. It has a number of high points that stuck with me. The monster petting the dog, the whole stuff with dogs, everything with dogs here. I thought Eric Stoltz is good. He's always been an actor I've liked and felt bad for because of what happened with Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Daphne Zuniga, she's fine. The villain is hissable. Everyone does their roles just fine. It was actually kind of fun seeing the one returning guy from the original Fly too, the few survivors. Now there is something I don't like, which is that, spoiler alert, the Gina Davis character shows up in the first 10 minutes and dies. I hate it when sequels kill off survivors from the first movie. It's like, oh man, Alien 3, I'm looking right at you. But it didn't seem as bad for this one because it wasn't Gina Davis. It was obviously not Gina Davis. So in my mind, it was almost like a different character. So I was okay with that. But but for that, I like it, and I like that it had a happy ending because there's few movies with an unhappier ending than the original Fly. It's the ending it needed to have. It would have been completely bogus to have him, somehow fix himself as he just kept getting worse and worse and worse. But this one was more of a movie for teens to take their girlfriends to. And on that level, I enjoy it. It didn't need. There was no reason for it to try to be The Fly. The Fly is The Fly. The Fly is as good as it gets. And let's go in a different direction. Just like Aliens went more action adventure than horror, like the first one. I like that. Now, Aliens is that's one of the greatest sequels ever made. This is not, but I think it's underrated, and I think people would enjoy it. And it's a good monster. It's a really monstrous monster, well realized, and just a good job on that. When a special effects person directs a movie, a lot of times there's too much of the special effects because they're tired of doing all this and having the director cut it down to 10 seconds. So then they do it and it goes on too long and you're like, okay, now I can tell how this was done. But sometimes that it works out. Pumpkinhead and I think The Fly 2 is another one where the special effects people, given the chance to direct, actually did a really good job. So I'm sorry he didn't continue, but I can understand why. So I like it.
Yeah,
I'm glad I picked it because I enjoyed watching it again for the first time in a while.
And let's check in with Chad. When did you first see this? Uh-oh. It may have gone over the hill on this transformation thing.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
If he starts puking out white
Cool.
stuff, Anyway, I'm sorry.
I saw it in the theater, and I'm a big fan of the first movie. And I was glad to see that they didn't try and redo the first movie. They did something different with it. And, Frank Darabont doing the rewrite is a big reason, I think, why Eric Stoltz ended up in the role. And I just thought it was it wasn't as good as the first Fly, but it was a worthy sequel, I thought, because it sort of told its own story without it told its own story, and the monster was just wickedly awesome. I remember the TV ads for it just showed that at the end scene where Bartok is standing in front of him and the two legs both fall down in front of Bartok like that, and I went, oh man, I've got to see this. And it was different. It was different while still carrying on themes from the first movie, and I liked that a lot, and I still do. I rarely watch the first Fly without watching the second one right behind it. So yeah, this is one that I really, really, really like. Just for the special effects, the insane gore of the face getting melted off.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a. My mom's not going to go with me to see that one. That anyway, but yeah, it's a good flick. Love it, and still do.
Yeah, I do too. Crystal, what about you?
So
Have you seen this?
I saw this. Yeah, of course. I saw this when I was young. Not at the theater. I wish that would have been awesome. But to be honest with you, I think I like this just as much as the first Fly. I mean, it's such a, this one's so much. I like the ending better of this one because, well, it's more positive for sure. In a way, and you kind of have bad guys get what they deserve, which I always love, and there is so much body horror and stuff in this one. Wow, I don't remember there being that much, but like watching it again, I was like, woof, oh yeah, because I mean it starts off with the birth, and you have that
that's gross
maggot thing or whatever. Is so gnarly. Yeah, I love Eric Stoltz. I just think he's a phenomenal actor. When he's watching the dog and his eyes are tearing up and stuff, I was like, guys, really good in this. Now, yeah, the original remake, or the remake of the original, whatever, you know what I mean? The Jeff Goldblum Fly, it will always be my favorite. I think it just slightly edges this one out, but I love that this is a true and good sequel to me. And I think that's so hard. I just think there's so few of them. I love that they, carried on with this child and the way that they took it. And I like the whole life cycle. I think it was really cool. I thought like I said, the acting was great and the effects are crazy. There's so much. I'm sure that's where most of the budget went because holy moly, there's so much. And yeah, I love this movie. I mean, I don't know what to say more than that. I mean, I think the story is great. I think it's sad, obviously, as all flies are. But wait, weren't they going to have another movie called Flies or something? Like a remake?
There was plans
like
for a sequel to this.
There was a Fly 3,
yeah,
but they didn't follow through.
I can't believe, with everything else being remade, with the success of Prey, the new Predator movie, and everything else, they're going to the well so many times. I'm a little surprised, that The Blob and The Fly and a few others out there haven't been remade.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so because I love The Fly. I think it's a great little like franchise.
Yeah. I agree with you. I got a bone to pick with Bill in that the original The Fly is one of my favorite movies from '58.
When I say
help me,
when I say it's silly, I don't mean that it's bad. It's just the suspension of disbelief that it takes. That so he's got a giant fly head, but he still thinks like a human. But then the fly gets a little human head that also, I guess, thinks like a human because it can talk. I don't know. Is it more implausible than Jeff Goldblum's DNA being mixed up with a fly and you end up with what we got? No, probably not. I mean, they're all
the French.
So anyway,
everybody was French. In that
we're going to be doing The Fly kind of in conjunction with this on Classic Era.
Cool.
Pretty soon. So This is far better than what I remembered. I don't know why. I kind of remembered being disappointed when I first saw this, but when I watched it this time, I loved it. I don't know if I was that much more into the effects or what it was, but I like it a lot, and I think the actors hold up. And in watching an interview with Chris Wallace about the casting, it's a wonder it turned out at all, because he didn't get much. That's probably part of what Mel Brooks was talking about. He was basically told Daphne Zuniga would be in it, and then all the people that he ran by him for the male lead were turned down, until finally he started going, so tell me who you want. You know, like, is there some secret word I need to say or something? So anyway, but I like Eric Stoltz a lot too. So I think the cast worked great. I like the story. The monster is original enough. The creature, that I love that kind of weird. His eyes and his jaw are kind of I don't know how to explain it, but they stick out farther on his face, you know. And anyway, did a lot of nice practical effects and used a lot of different techniques to get it. So I don't know, I liked it a lot. Anyway, let's go on from there. Yippee-ki-yay. We do have you know, the poster, like father, like son.
So apparently they destroyed the pods after making the first one. Am I the only person in the world who just sometimes is astonished by how stupid they are in Hollywood when they know how fanatical fans are? I would mortgage my house to have one of those original pods. But maybe that's chump change to them. I don't know. So they had to rebuild them, and
awesome.
they still look cool. Oh man, that'd be cool.
An awesome reading cubicle, or a
sauna. I don't know, whatever.
And they probably said, it's just another horror movie. Just tear the setup. Let's go on.
Right.
Not knowing it's going to be a hit, and then boom.
Okay, so I'm sure nobody else wondered about this, but in the first one, both of the pods have glass doors. Or transparent, you can see in them. In the second one, the receiving pod did not have glass,
so you can't see the special effect surprise.
So you can't see what's about to jump at your face. I mean, boy, if there's anything that needs a glass, it's the receiving pod.
We know what's going in the first pod,
right?
We need to see what's in
it's so full of smoke you couldn't see it anyway, which was a cool thing too. I wonder how they decided that.
But then get an infrared camera. I want to know if something that's half honey badger and half mako shark is going to come jumping out of the smoke and latch onto my face. But I guess that spoils the surprise.
Well, let's look at he is legendary, Chris Wallace, who won an Oscar with
there we go.
Look at the stuff he worked on.
For The Fly.
I mean, he worked on some great stuff. Humanoids from the Deep, wasn't that the first film that we did as a group?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the first one was Fulci.
Oh.
I think Humanoids of the Deep was my Humanoids of the Deep was my first pick. I don't know exactly where it fit into the sequence, but
I mean, Dragon Slayer has the best dragon ever,
I love
in my
Dragon
opinion.
Slayer. Yes.
Enemy Mine. There's another one I'm surprised hasn't been remade, and we just lost the director just a couple of days ago. Wolfgang Peterson died. These are some, you know, he's contributed to some great movies.
That one had Quaid in it.
Yep.
Quaid.
I forget who it is. That Let the Drinking Begin, I guess. Also worked on Piranha.
Yeah.
Looking at
and he showed his gore chops in this one. You're right, Chad. The face off thing and the head crushed in the elevator. That's some primo stuff there. That's
well, and supposedly that was the elevator thing wasn't in the script.
Came up with that on his own.
Put the elevator in
Wayless thought it would be a good idea, make a good gag for a.
It was a good idea.
Yeah,
Great idea.
Exactly.
Well,
It's actually a throwback to the first movie too, because that's how the fly, the original fly, kills himself. You know, crushes his head in like a press, which was kind of shocking as a kid.
The face melt was Mel Brooks's idea.
Oh,
otherwise
well,
that
a good
wasn't
idea.
that wasn't going to be in there either. But
oh,
I like
that's so obvious.
I love the fact that Mel Brooks is a horror fan. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, I want to mention the producer ended up being Stephen Charles Jaffe, and I have to mention him because it was the Jaffe brothers that did Motel Hell. If y'all remember.
Oh, Christopher G. Mohr's favorite film.
It is.
That was evil, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, who then went on to produce things like
We
Strange
all
Days
loved Motel Hell. It's confusing why he doesn't. I don't get it.
He was also producer for Demon. He was associate producer for Demon Seed, Time After Time, Motel Hell, Near Dark, Ghost, Star Trek 6, Strange Days. Anyway,
an impressive resume.
Yeah, he and his brother came up with this Motel Hell idea, and that was kind of I think that was sort of their gateway thing. And their father was Herb Jaffe was a famous producer, I believe. So anyway, so he talked about Mel Brooks, that he was like the best executive producer you could ever have, that he did exactly what you wanted him to do, and
that's cool.
Would contribute stuff, wasn't always like nickel and diming you, and was, he told him to do that and vomit that, that costs a little extra money, the face tear off with the fly vomit. So anyway,
cool part
stuff
about that kill was the guy. It didn't kill the guy. He was still.
Yeah.
That was even more horrifying.
That was very cool. So this was a family thing. So I guess, that's one of the things that's interesting about this is Wayless's first directing job. His company, CWI, or Chris Wayless Inc., did all the effects. So the guys at the shop are all thinking, wow, we get to do it without, use our own ideas and creativity and stuff. And maybe not. But in the credits, special effects makeup supervisor is listed as Stephen Dupuy, who was co-Oscar winner with Wayless for the original The Fly. Creature effects supervisor John Berg, and effects shop supervisor Mark Wayless. So I just like to throw those names out there, but there was a lot of, like all of these, there's a ton of people in his shop and working on that stuff, so he let them loose, right? Wanted to give them rein, but he had an idea. So he said, I kind of screwed him, because I actually did have an idea, and I kept waiting for somebody to come up with my idea. And finally I had to steer him in the right direction. So he ended up.
He kept waiting for, why do we wait for people to read our minds? Why don't we just tell people?
Well, he was trying to be, I think, and maybe he was hoping somebody would come up with something else that would hit him.
What was the idea?
Just the way that they ended up. It had to have 6 legs or 4 legs.
That's the thing I was wondering, because that adds a whole level of complexity to something when you have 6.
And he knew that, but that's what he wanted. And then I think the thing at the end too had to have no resemblance to the fly, the thing that crawls out of the receiving pod,
the bar top thing.
Which
has blue eyes. That's one of the things. There's an alternate ending to this, which you can find on YouTube, and and I understand why the studio wanted it, because when you think about it, we see Marty pull himself out. He seems to be okay, and Bartok he's a hot mess. And then we see the ending, which is just him dragging himself out like the monster from Tusk, and slurping on some food while everybody's watching him, and you just get he deserves it. He deserves every moment of it. But he
goes into the dog chamber.
He goes into the dog chamber. This is a living hell. This, if he had the ability to
Yeah,
kill himself, he
maybe
would, but he doesn't have the ability.
Maybe he shouldn't have let that dog live like that for so long.
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
So I
this
feel
is
that's perfect retribution.
Well,
Let me tell you
right.
something. This dog stuff.
yeah,
mm-mm.
I know. I've got some slides.
That
I mean, but okay,
innocence.
so, but that's the ending, and it's like you might. I could see the audience saying, "Okay, that's all well and good, well deserved, good show." But
Yeah.
what happened to Marty and the girl? Did they let them leave? Are they in prison somewhere? I mean, what's up? So they did have a scene where the two of them are just sort of enjoying some food at the beach, and it ends that way with a fly lands on his potato salad. Okay, it's kind of anticlimactic. I can see why they cut it out. But here's the weird thing: if I'm reading this right, the monster has Marty's blue eyes, and Marty now has Bartok's brown eyes, and that made me wonder: are they trying to imply?
That's cool.
Are they trying to imply that maybe some of Bartok is now in Marty, and some of Marty is trapped in this creature? And I don't know. Maybe that's what they're afraid audiences would think, is that this is like the ending of Scanners, where the good guys and bad guys switched bodies. So
one of the greatest downer endings ever. I mean,
yeah,
because even though you hated Bartok and you hated what he did,
right,
there's still, it makes you imagine, especially you see that eyeball and you imagine.
What's so funny is y'all thought it was a downer, and I cheered.
Well, I cheered because it was a downer. Because the rest of
it really was uplifting compared to the original one. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
The bad guy gets it, and Martin Brundle comes out of it. Marty, okay, probably.
Yeah,
and at least we know we're surprised.
Otherwise,
so,
yeah.
Somewhere in heaven, that dog is laughing.
I was laughing.
God, the dog. Let me tell you, that's all it was for me. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
The dude was a jerk. Okay, regardless, but what they allow. Why didn't they kill the dog? Why did they let this poor dog live?
They wanted to see how long it would live in that.
That's evil. Yeah. That's just evil.
Yeah,
the same reason they didn't kill Bartok.
Any of the other ones? Did you catch that line? This one's lived longer than any of the other ones.
Yeah, he's not the first.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was an edited scene where Marty comes across a freezer full of dead variants. So, they've been doing this a lot. And that, I gotta say, that's very logical, because one of the flaws I see in a lot of these movies where something goes wrong and there's a horrible result is that they imply they don't go back and do it again. Listen, if Bruce Banner got turned into the Hulk, I guarantee that there'd be a part of the military that would spend the rest of eternity trying to reproduce that result.
Yeah.
And they did. That's how they got the Abomination. But they wouldn't stop. They just keep on doing it until they got it right. So, yeah, I'm sure they sent a lot of things through that machine.
Yeah, the dog thing was interesting. I thought I think it was Wayless said that they had to find the right in between where you sort of knew it was a dog, but it didn't look enough like a dog, because it's the old, you can't kill the dog thing. They said Mel Brooks about had a conniption when they were going to kill the dog, and then when he showed it to him, they try to, like, it's a dog, but it doesn't really. It's hard to connect it,
Scrambled.
So well, and in fact, I think they had to take all the. Did you see anything about that, Chad? I think they had to take the the armature out of it to make it turned into like a loose sack of.
About that.
No,
but it was.
I think that's what he said.
I knew what it was right away.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any confusion about.
No, but they don't want your brain to identify it as that cute, cuddly dog. It's the misshapen, monstrous-looking dog.
I cry at that scene every time I watch it.
Oh, it's terrible.
That's tough to watch.
And I like the shot also when he turns into the monster and the goes up to the one dog there and just sort of pets him on the head, and the look on that dog's face. Mm-hmm. That's some good acting right there, because that dog looks seriously nervous.
The Doberman.
Yeah.
The Doberman. That dog is like, nah. I think he's okay.
There better be a
Talking about
sausage
that,
at the end of
let's,
this. There he is.
yeah.
There he is, right at the bottom. Good boy.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm not sure about this whole acting thing.
Oh, it's a cute dog. You know, that dog's
Yeah.
dead. God, that makes me sad.
Oh.
Sorry. That's the stuff I think.
Wow.
How many years it's been. Yeah, that's why my mind always works.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. God.
Well, let's.
I'm always like that when I
guess-
watch movies too. I'm like, all dead.
So, what's the story about Eric Stoltz and
So
Back to the Future?
okay, so they
look
wanted
at
to make
him.
Back to the Future, and they wanted to hire Michael J. Fox, but Michael J. Fox wasn't available, and they had to start
Yep.
shooting. So they searched around. They got Eric Stoltz, and they shot. And I don't know how much they shot. Accounts differ, but there must be at least a good half an hour worth of footage and stuff. Some of which has been released. You can find it. A lot of it hasn't. And after a couple of weeks of filming, or about a month of filming, I think it was. Again, I've heard different accounts. They just said it isn't working. He's a very
He's too
serious actor,
real,
and he was treating
yeah.
it. Yeah, he was treating it a little too seriously. It's been pointed out that Back to the Future is like a horror movie when you think about it. That at the end of the movie, our hero has gone back to a reality that is completely alien to him. That he is now doomed to live this existence where everyone else has had a completely different life that he's unaware of. It's actually horrible if you think about it, but you're not supposed to think about that. And I get the feeling Eric Stoltz, who's very much a method actor, was seriously thinking about stuff like that, the ramifications of this time travel. And so they made the big decision to scrap everything, let him go, which must have been just devastating. And Michael J. Fox by this point was available. So, you're Eric Stoltz. This is your big break. You're making a Spielberg movie. And then you're let go, and the movie becomes one of the greatest hits of all time and spawns a franchise.
So
That
he goes from
has got to hurt.
Marty McFly to
Marty the Fly.
Martin the Fly. Yeah.
Martin the Fly, yeah. But now, and it's a sad story. He's got nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, he was brilliant in Mask. He was great in Pulp Fiction.
Let's be real. The reality is he was too good for the movie. That's the reality of it.
I've
He's
seen
too authentic. He's too authentic of an actor. He's not this over the top Michael J. Fox, who's a comedic actor. Like that's he's just too good.
I've seen some of the things, some of the footage that they've released, and he's not. You look at Michael J. Fox's version, you look at his, and Michael J. Fox is a little more broad and comedic, which is what they were going for. It's not that either one was a bad actor or a better actor than the other, but they seem to be acting in two different movies. Now, I do question, all right, if you're the director and your actor is not giving you a comedic performance, you need to take them aside and say, make it funny. I think there's some folks, I don't know, I wasn't there. Some folks think maybe he got sandbagged, that they let him go forward this way. And then they showed all the footage to the people in charge of the money and said, see, we got to get Michael J. Fox. This just isn't working.
Probably because
what you said about him.
That's the director.
What you said about is being a method actor. Wayless said it was, like this is his first directing job, and he's got the two leads. He said you've got Eric Stoltz, who wants everybody to call him Martin, and even has Martin on his chair whenever he's on set. And then you have Daphne, who's like, she's always off on the side chatting it up and yucking and laughing with people. And then when it's time for her to come on, she just comes on and plays it. So he was a little worried at first about how he's going to adapt to that. And then he said, I didn't really have to, because they knew what they were doing, So I don't know that he did much, Wayless anyway, did much actual directing in terms of the acting. Was probably more to do with camera angles, special effects, and that kind of stuff.
That one shot there in the middle.
No, we're talking about Back to the Future, though. Yeah, Jeff.
I'm talking about The Fly right now.
Yeah.
And
we were talking
I'm backing up what Bill said about him being a method actor by bringing that in.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it just was a good fit. He was really good in The Prophecy too, where he, it's a small role, but it's a good role where he plays.
Is that picture there on the?
Yeah, where the black eyes.
Okay.
Yeah,
isn't he?
He's like a chameleon. He looks different in every picture, of course, obviously. looks different in
I like him in
Mask.
Killing Zoe a lot.
Hmm.
And and I think that was a Tarantino script. I think. But anyway,
Now,
they're
he
robbing
has-
a bank.
Yeah, he has said that losing the Back to the Future thing may have been the best thing to happen to him because he may not have handled that sudden fame all that well. He also openly says, but his bank account would certainly be a lot bigger. So, he
Yeah.
seems to have come through it with his dignity intact. I think everyone felt bad about it, but that is as rough a thing as can happen to a good actor. It's one thing to be fired if you're just lousy. Although that hasn't stopped people from making movies with
He's
lousy actors.
one of the best actors I have ever seen. I have, look, I know I'm really defending him because I am so serious about Eric Stoltz. Like he's freaking brilliant. Like I watch him on screen and he is captivating. And I watched Mask, and Mask is something I would never watch because that is just sad and
Right.
but he's just
Well, that was the other thing Wayla said was they were a little
So
leery that he would
good.
want to do this after doing all the time, having the appliance applied in The Mask, and that he never balked at it at all and never complained, even when there were problems and they had to spend extra time doing stuff because of screw ups that he was in the makeup.
that's
So
nice.
he knew what he was getting into and had the right attitude and everything. So
He's a professional.
and he continues to work, and he's done a lot of it looks like television directing. Several episodes of
which is smart.
Bull and Madam Secretary and Glee and a variety.
The fact that his career survived the debacle of Back to the Future tells you that he's good, because normally in Hollywood, if something goes this sideways on a film, that person never works again. I mean, there's a lot of folks, newcomers who made a big splash and then the movie bombed and they just blamed him. The guy who played Lone Ranger in Legend of the Lone Ranger, did he ever work again? It's they love to blame you for whatever goes wrong. So the fact that he's someone we still know tells you he's good. Might not have been best for that role, who knows? But I'm glad that he came through it. And I thought he was very good in this movie because this movie depends on us sympathizing to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to see, when did he? Also did Memphis Belle? That was a pretty big hit. I remember that. So Mask was like 4 years before this. I don't remember what year did Back to the Future come out.
I mean, we could look. Let's see.
The internet remembers 1985. So that was right about the same time as Mask. So maybe that, the acclaim he got for that might have counteracted.
Didn't he win like an Oscar for that or something? Like
he didn't. I don't.
I feel like he did. I thought he did.
I could well imagine him being nominated.
He won he got a nomination for a Golden Globe for.
Okay.
That was it. Wow.
They don't like to give awards to people who are in heavy makeup because they pretend that, it wasn't really the acting, it was the makeup, which is stupid. But Hollywood,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's not like Hollywood at all. To be
it's
it's
the opposite. It's the opposite. It is so much harder.
Crystal,
to
that's because
makeup.
Crystal, you're not stupid. So yes, you understand this.
It's
all right.
That covers your face.
Zuniga.
It's wild. Oh, yay. Yeah.
And that's why Mel Brooks wanted her.
Right, because he
liked her. He worked with her in Spaceballs.
Princess Vespa.
So.
And she's no, has she been in anything? Like
she's worked continually. I looked at that too.
Oh.
I think maybe she's just in the type of stuff I don't watch. It looked like a lot of stuff that maybe could have been sort of, Hallmark or Lifetime
rom-coms
movie kind of things.
Okay, that makes sense.
She had that part on Melrose Place.
Yeah, she has worked steadily, and it looks like she's done a lot of TV movies. I see one, A Christmas Arrangement. If that doesn't scream Hallmark, I don't know what does.
Well,
Yeah.
and right after that, Christmas in Paris.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Well, you guys
The Wrong
remember
Babysitter, Witness Unprotected. So
She's turned
Yes,
into
sir.
a very attractive, mature woman and everything. So yeah, that's the transition that you make in Hollywood. I keep saying bad things about Hollywood. They're never going to hire me.
Well, apparently her first movie was The Dorm That Dripped Blood,
No, nice, good for her.
Fun. Mm-hmm.
which is in 1982, which means, we could do it if we wanted to.
All right, yeah, we might get. I'm sure we'll get to it. And I'm sure it won't be the
I wonder
worst
if
thing
we'd
we'll
be
get
able to
to.
find it. Yeah. The door that dripped blood.
The dorm.
Dorm.
The dorm.
Dorm.
Oh,
Oh, there's doors there too.
that's weird. The dorm. Okay, let's see.
All right.
But
and
she
then
was
we also
fine in
have-
this. Her character wasn't given a whole lot to do.
So the dorm that dripped blood is not available anywhere, just so you know.
Nah.
Not at this moment.
So there was a couple spots where I thought she could have done better. Let's put it that way. But other than that, there were other scenes where I thought she was awesome. I thought she had real chemistry with Eric Stoltz, and
Yeah, I thought they had a good
That was
natural
good.
chemistry. I think the writing kind of let down this relationship because when you think about it, this guy is, how old is he really in the film? Is he what, 10?
He's like supposed to be 10 or something. Yeah, I don't
He's
know
like
how
10,
old. It's like,
right.
yeah.
10 years old, and yeah,
Like
physically he's aged, and intellectually he's superior. I think they could have kind of done more with the fact that this is a 10-year-old kid who's been living in an incredibly sheltered environment, and now this really cute girl is
Isn't it-
coming on to him.
doesn't he have his like 5th birthday cake? Isn't
Yeah, I
that?
think it was
Yeah.
only 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
He had a
that's
birthday
creepy.
cake.
Oh,
that
it
said
was
5 on it.
5. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, he's cute, but what kind of personality would he really have? He's been raised by these scientists who don't like him. The only person who's really nice to him is his father figure, who's a monster. We know that. He doesn't.
Who lies to him all the time. So,
His dog died.
Speaking of
Um,
father figures.
Oh, there he is. Before and after. Yeah, piece of crap. This guy did a great job. He was really
He did.
unlikable.
He did.
He was unlikable, but you could believe that he could fool this kid, who again is 5 years old and doesn't know any better. Has portrayed himself as someone who's got his best interests at heart, is the only reason that he's lived as long as he has, and just wants what's best for him, and is spending lots of money to try to keep him hale and healthy. And we know he's a son of a bitch. Hey, he was good, Lee Richardson. And that's what happens to you when you act that way. Look at that. Yep. You got one blue eye and you're slurping whatever the hell that porridge is from a bowl.
It's gross.
Can't even chew it. Yeah.
I guess he doesn't have. He's only got about 50 credits on IMDb, but he did 5 films for Sidney Lumet. Network, Prince of the City, 3 other ones.
That's pretty good right there.
I could picture him being in Network for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's got one of those face. I imagine he probably looked like the way he looks here at a young age. And
He was
when that happens,
he was the university president in The Exorcist 3.
Oh, he played Dominic Pritzi in Pritzi's Honor. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. Good. So he had a good. Those are the 3 main people, really, right? There's a few others that are peripheral, like the security guard and the couple of the doctors, right?
Yeah, they come to no good end.
They do, in a variety of ways. Well, let's look at the hero, and there's all 6 legs.
Yeah,
or an arm and 4
it was
legs,
actually
whatever.
hard to find pictures of the complete monster. There aren't that many out there.
Well,
the camera didn't linger too long on
right, which is
Right.
smart. Which again shows you, that he didn't fall into the trap that so many special effects people do of showing too much and giving everything away. So that was.
Well, I
a
think
smart
they
move.
also. I thought I read something how most of the time they had it. Like if you saw the legs moving, that was one. They had one method for that, and then when they had the top of the monster, that was another method.
That's
with
smart.
the arm and the head. So that's why there's not very many full shots of them, because it would.
I feel like a lot of the full body stuff we were seeing was a puppet. A lot of the stuff on the ceiling and when it would jump through things.
Yeah, maybe
just
a rod puppet.
Maybe.
And I'll say from a design standpoint, nothing about this creature other than the arms really screams insect to me. The you look at the top, he looks more like half human, half dragon.
Agreed.
But you know what? The original Brundlefly was so horrifying and so alien. You could not relate to him. I mean, you're trying to remind yourself somewhere in there is Jeff Goldblum, but I don't see, even on his worst day, I don't see Jeff ever looking like that. And
no, when he splits apart,
allowed
yeah,
more personality. Yeah.
So, but even then, it's like this was like they're going for the I think you said it, the teen scare movie. We want. And apparently, the scene that got the most reactions from the crowd, the big shock, was the elevator.
Yeah, well, sure. It's pretty.
Well, I never saw it as that. I saw it as a legit horror movie.
Yeah, well, I liked it.
I mean, I know. Yeah, there's probably teenagers that took their girlfriends there for obvious reasons. The reason teenagers did take their dates to scary movies, but I just think Frank Darabont did on the final rewrite. He just put together such a great continuation of that movie without copying that movie, the original movie. That's what I remember the first time I saw it, really loving about it, is because you start getting into sequels, they start getting formulaic and everything's the same. And it's like Bill brought out before, like Aliens. It was the same but different. That's how I felt about this one. It's continuing that storyline logically and in an entertaining
they
way.
had some crazy ideas for this movie. I mean, reading some of the rejected scripts, they all sound frankly terrible. There was one where they're trying to bring back Brundlefly. There was one where there's a whole bunch of kids that have been deformed or mutated, and Martin can talk to flies, and I don't know. I just don't see how any of these could work, and apparently no one liked the scripts, and I credit, I guess Darabont is the one I would probably instinctively give credit to figure it out how to make this
Well, that's
work.
what they said, that and this was before he was Frank Darabont,
Yeah, right.
Right.
That he really did kind of save it. I think Wayless actually said, "Thank God for Frank Darabont," because he and when one of the, after Mick Garris had the original, and then the other two, was it Wheat brothers, or I kind of assume they were brothers, or maybe it's Jim and Ken Wheat. After that one, Wayless said he went to the studio and said, "If this is what we're doing, I'm out." And he turned around and walked away. He said, "I didn't actually quit because I didn't get out the door." Because they were like, wait.
And the fact that they're still, that those folks are still credited, probably means that there are elements of this movie that they came up with. Because if they completely rewrite the script and everything, just kick you right off the credits. But I'm sure they had some elements too. But Darabont has a good story sense.
Yeah,
I think he's described as reworking the script. So I don't if he,
that can mean a lot.
Change it was. It'd be interesting. So let's see. Did we
They all got paid?
We talked about the monster.
But go back one, Jeff. Go back one. The middle picture right there. That was a chilling scene.
Because
that was the point where you didn't know which way he was going to go, and I was scared for her, when she was standing and he was telling her you should leave. And I just wanted to point out how
It's also
I thought
well
that was-
shot. It's
yeah.
got that from beyond primary colors look there.
Mm,
Well, it brought you back to the first, the Cronenberg
Right.
Fly,
Mhm.
right.
where he's warning the Gina Davis character to
Right.
stay away from him because he won't be able to control himself. It's
Insect politics. Yeah.
Hmm.
crazy stuff. So then the ending, this thing I thought was awesome. I mean, it's how to.
Yep.
I mean, I almost hate having learned all this stuff with you guys because my first shot at seeing that, I see nothing human or familiar to it. But then I start thinking, like, how did they do that? And then I can see, where some of the gears and the wheels and the people, the puppeteers.
I think on this particular one they used a paraplegic, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
And,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's
and this is also kind of a shout back to probably the most maligned of all the Fly movies, Curse of the Fly, where there's one scene where two characters are put into the transporter and transported somewhere, and they come out as just this combined blob creature. And I
that's
saw
actually
that as
a pretty
kid.
good movie. That's way better than Return of the Fly, where they put that giant fly head
giant
on
head.
it just looks like a
Right.
That
Although,
was a big fly head.
That was a big Here's some behind the scenes stuff.
So I think this is like, see, you could see somebody working the legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They probably shooting that from the legs down. And
Chris, is it? I always say Wallace, so it's pronounced Wallace.
I've always heard it as Wallace.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard other directors and people call him Chris Wallace. So
I like how he will use arm extensions and stuff. Remember from Humanoids from the Deep, there was at least the one humanoid that had those crazy pants, long arms, and everything. I like that.
His arms are just way
that middle shot. I mean, that's how do you make a man in a suit not look like a man in the suit? Well, you have the arms and legs bend in ways that no human can bend their legs without serious fractures. It really helps the illusion. But Chad, you're right. When I saw the ads, the two legs coming down, bomb. It's like sold. That's it.
Yeah.
Take my money.
I don't know what I saw the first time I saw this, but this time around, I'm like thinking
might have been the frame of mind you're in.
It's not the first Fly. They definitely have different feels, but I'm kind of with Crystal. I think they're as good, but they're different. This one is a much more the effects drive the movie a lot, but you still have that. There's a heart to it. The heart is there with the dog and the relationship with the two of them. Anyway, final thoughts. Anything else we need to talk about here?
If you've put off watching this movie because you heard bad things, watch it. It's better than its reputation suggests. It wasn't The Fly. It wasn't David Cronenberg, and the critics who fell over themselves loving The Fly. It's almost like they felt obligated to really trash this to get their street cred back, because we know horror movies aren't supposed to be critically acclaimed, and they slipped up with The Fly, so the daggers were out for this one. But I think you'll have a good time. I know I did.
Yeah, this movie is good, whether it's a sequel to The Fly or not. It's good. It stands on its own. It stands on its own as a good horror film. And like I said, it's hard for me to watch one without watching the other right behind it. They just, in my mind, I know, even though the styles are different, Cronenberg being who he is, and Wallace being like his first major thing that he directed, being so different but still the same. I love that. I love that continuation that it had, but it still can stand on its own. So it's a great film, and if I'm hoping everybody that watches this has seen it by now, but if you haven't, you need to watch it, especially you gorehounds.
Yeah. I'd be shocked if anyone out there who hasn't seen this But if you haven't seen it, let us know.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you have HBO Max, you should totally watch it. I think we all agree on this one. This one is a really good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
We
wouldn't steer you wrong.
I would highly recommend the complete collection too from Scream Factory. There are tons of extras on that stuff. A lot of interesting things. And very good.
A lot of people that we got to watch The Ripper wouldn't think we steered them wrong.
Well, no, we told them we didn't tell them this is a hidden gem. Go see it. I mean, just because we pick it doesn't mean that it's great. But if we all agree that it's good,
that's not no. You can't go based on our picks because sometimes we pick stuff that none of us have seen. Well, none of us.
1 out of 4 times Chad picks something, so you can't just go on the picks. Oh, look at you! Look at you throwing her under the bus. You've got some nerve. You have got some nerve.
All right, we have some feedback.
Whoa. I didn't see that.
I don't think we had very much, did we? Not much.
There's not very many here, but it's on the Deadly Spawn.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, come on, people. All right, the Deadly Spawn. So there's one from Kevin Coleman. Crystal, would you take that?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I discovered this film from Fangoria in the early 80s. The Deadly Spawn creature adorned the lower right corner of Bloody Best Volume 3. I never got to see this one until sometime in 2007. Then a rewatch on Shudder for retrospect for this podcast, which I appreciate you watching it for us. I like it. I really wish I could have watched it in 1983 when I was only 7.
Oh,
the scariest part. I see. That's about normal because, watch an Exorcist at 5. I mean, that's kind of. You think it's unusual, but more people than not that I've talked to have also watched these.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's shaped us. The scariest part, possibly that dank basement with all the sparks firing. I agree. Of course, the creatures were menacing. However, as an adult, I think the psychologist's hairline frightened me the most. Oh my God, that's hilarious. See, that's got to be a man thing, I think. But however, I was in for the whole ride. All it took was that awesome Shogun Warriors Godzilla. Thanks, folks, for another great podcast.
I thought I was the only one that noticed that. Cool.
They fell from the stars and into our hearts. Yep. Yay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
I appreciate it. And Bill, would you take, there's one here from Chad White as well.
Chad White. I have seen this title several times over the years, and I've always skipped over it. Great review. I'm going to add it to my watch list. See, I feel like in our own little way, we are helping these films, get the attention they may deserve.
Agreed. Yep.
So, thank you, Chad. Our final one is from Thunderhead Jones. Chad, you want to read that?
Who's that? Who's Thunderhead Jones? I wonder.
I have no idea.
Crazy.
Chad is so awesome. I really do love him. I don't remember putting that hard after I wrote that. I mean,
you notice you never see Thunderhead Jones and Jeff in the same room.
Well, you never see.
Hold on, everybody.
Wait a minute.
wait. Where did Chad go?
That was a joke. I never thought you'd put that in there in a million years.
That's awesome. Actually, I'm glad you did.
A little self-love never hurt anybody. Self-promotion.
Chad does a lot of self-love, but enough of his problems.
If I don't, who will?
That's a good point. I mean,
all right, Brew believers.
You do you, boo boo. Mm-hmm.
That's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up is one chosen by the Living Dead Girl. Ooh. What are we doing?
So I was gonna choose the Howling 3 because someone had the nerve to like say something about it, and then I contemplated and I sat on it, much like a chicken sits on an egg, and I thought, I'll be kind.
Yay.
Just once. I'm just kidding. And I chose Crawl. Yay!
Crawl.
I thought you were going to say Howling
Crawl.
4. Crawl.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Your mother's
Yeah.
grandma's a
Funny.
marsupial
Yeah.
werewolf.
See, I need a writer. Yeah. I need a good
So-
writer. There we go.
We've had several people, viewers, mention Kroll in feedback. I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We all love Crawl.
I'm looking forward
and I
to
think
that,
a
and
lot
that's
of them-
on.
We know Jerry loves Crawl.
That's also
Oh,
on
yeah,
HBO
well.
Max right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
As we record, you never know.
I'm going to go make a glaive for special
Or
for the
gonna
show.
happen.
And I'll come up. I'll have Band-Aids all over my fingers because dang, worst
Didn't
weapon ever.
Cool.
Predator end
Cool.
up with that weapon?
Yeah.
Well, lots of ways to stay in touch. Please leave feedback. Make
Okay,
comments to
okay,
the-
I will.
The Gruesome Magazine,
Except for
YouTube
Thunderhead.
channel.
Heard enough out of him.
I still haven't heard where that comes from. I heard there's a story there somewhere, but
What, Thunderhead?
yeah.
Take a whole podcast.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, leave comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you can send them to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com. And we try to read just about everything. It'd be great if we got so many comments we didn't have time to read them all on the
Yeah,
show.
totally.
We would read them all, but we love hearing from people and hearing what they think, because you're our peeps.
That's right.
Makes
Kid,
us
just
feel
again.
heard.
We also take suggestions.
Yes.
And bribes.
We do?
Oh, I like bribes. I'm down with bribes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Jeff just sits there and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s, as only decades of horror can do it. Thanks, guys, and say goodnight.
Good night.
everybody.
Yep.
Gruesome Magazine.